The leak has not been plugged. The latest effort to stop the flow of oil from that broken well in the Gulf, called Top Kill, has now been declared a failure. The move had been promising a few days ago, but now yet another procedure must be attempted. The president issued a statement last night saying this news is as, quote, enraging as it is heartbreaking. Here with us now live this morning is BP's managing director, Robert Dudley. Mr. Dudley, welcome to Meet the Press.
Good morning, David.
What went wrong?
David, we made 3 attempts to wrestle this beast to the ground by pumping heavy fluids into it. We were unable to overcome the flow. The scientists and the engineers from BP and the government reviewed all the data and determined that the best next option was that we needed to move as fast as possible to a containment operation, which we were beginning already, which will contain the flow and produce it to the surface.
I want to put up that live picture of the flow that we're talking about and ask you a couple of questions about it. I mean, this is just an amazing picture. First of all, you know, you look at this thing and you think, can't you just go in there and shove something on top of it and stop it? Would you explain how difficult it is in 5,000 feet below the level, the sea level, with that kind of pressure to do that?
We have to do everything by robots, remote-operated vehicles. They virtually had to go down and construct a small city of architecture of pipes and manifolds and pumpings and then connect them with these robots. We had the problem of a well flow coming up through a top, through a blowout preventer, that we had to inject fluids into a blowout preventer. Some of them went down, some of them went up. But in the end, too much of the drilling mud that we were injecting came back up out of the well. We were not able to overcome it. And so now we want to capture and contain and limit the oil on the surface and in the water.
Well, you've tried containment before unsuccessfully. What makes you think this new attempt will work?
Good question. Very, very early days, we went down with a dome to contain it. What we found is that there's so much natural gas in what comes out of this well, it immediately forms an unusual thing called hydrates, which are ice crystals, which created the dome to float. This one, we will have concentric pipes down it. We will pump warmer seawater down around it to keep the temperature within the right range, a little bit of methanol, and that's the way we want to prevent the problem that we had before. The objective is to contain the majority of the flow this way.
What are the chances this works?
I think the engineering on this is more simple than the top kill. What we need to do is go down with the robots, diamond cut saws, slice off the top of that riser with a clean surface. The flow rate shouldn't be that much higher, and then drop over it this containment. It'll be a 4 to 7 day operation. I think the probability of it working is much different than the top kill.
What, different? Does that mean better?
Better. Absolutely better.
And you think we'll know by about 4 days?
I think by the end of the week. As you know, the 5,000 feet of water, no humans could go down there. We're reliant on the robots. These guys that are working offshore are incredibly skilled at this. We've been asking them to do the equivalent of open heart surgery on television for everyone. They are very, very careful people that check pressures and temperatures and connections. Right. But I would say by the end of the week.
I want to put up that live picture of the oil flow again, and I'd like you to just kind of level with the American people. How much oil is spilling into the Gulf on a daily basis?
We honestly do not know. The original estimates, which were government and BP estimates together, primarily unified estimates of 5,000 barrels a day, were based on satellite pictures. We've always found this a difficult oil to measure because of the huge amounts of gas in the oil. The new estimate range of, I think it's 12 to 19,000 barrels has been issued without an actual flow measurement. The one thing about this method that we're about to go into, it will and should measure the majority of the flow.
If this doesn't work, do you have additional things you can try, or do you effectively have to stall and do what you can until a relief well is in place in August?
Well, the backstop, and always the backstop, will be the relief well in August. The engineers are going to take the data, the science. They may go back in and try to kill the well. If the containment is successful and we can put in place a longer-term containment program, which is effectively producing the well, then that will minimize the amount of oil on the ocean. So that's the trade-offs we want to make. We don't want to do anything that creates a bigger problem than we have now. We've been very careful not to do that before. So we'll see.
It's stunning, the fact that BP, with all your expertise, did not have a better contingency plan than you appear to have. I mean, it's been noted the ad hoc nature of what you're doing, trying one thing, then another, and unsuccessfully so. The president is reportedly incredibly angry about that and feels, frankly, misled by the industry. Did the industry mislead government about the danger of what it was doing and what would happen if something went terribly wrong at this level?
Well, we're angry too. We understand the anger of the people, particularly those whose livelihoods have been affected on the Gulf Coast. This is an unprecedented accident. These blowout preventers, which are used on oil and gas wells all around the world and have been used on more than 5,000 deepwater wells in the Gulf of Mexico, have not failed before. There are multiple levels of failure redundancies in those blowout preventers, and we want to find out why this has happened. The whole world will change as a result of this in the industry so that it never happens anywhere again.
Sir, my question is whether the industry misled government. Straightforward question. Did the industry mislead government?
I don't think so. The industry is all around the world. These pieces of equipment are inspected regularly. In the U.S., they're inspected every 14 days. This is a very unusual failure. We need to find out why. We need to learn from it and change the industry for good.
Final question, sir. We were told by the company last night we'd be speaking to CEO Tony Hayward. Apparently that changed or somebody was wrongly informed. My question is, when this immediate crisis is over, Mr. Hayward is, metaphorically speaking, the captain of this ship. Should he resign?
Well, Tony Hayward has been here since the very beginning. He's been spending time in the engineering control centers. He's been out on the rigs. He's been visiting with the governors, meeting in the communities that have been affected. Very early days, he said, we're not going to stand behind statutory limits of liability. We're going to take full responsibility for it. We're going to make good for it. We've spent nearly $1 billion on this cleanup effort. I think he's done a great job of leading a company to stand up and do the right thing. We realize that the frustrations that's out there, we're trying to make good so that people don't miss boat payments and house payments. We've set these claims up, offices up all across the country, and we've been able to bring in 4 rigs and teams from around the world to respond to it.
So Tony Hayward should keep his job?
I think Tony's doing a fantastic job.
And he should stay in that job?
I think so.
Okay. Mr. Dudley, we're going to leave it there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.